Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to say, first and foremost, you hear that crunch, crunch, crunch? Oh my God. Oh no, now he's drinking water. Weirdest intro ever, right? So my last video that I uploaded, I talked about how I had lost 14 pounds on keto. And then I got a lot of messages asking me a lot of information about the keto, and I had told you guys that, you know, if you let me know what you wanted to know about it, that I'd more than gladly let you guys know what it is that I know about keto, because I've done a lot of my own research, and I would love to share that with you guys. So one of the things that you guys expressed to me was that you didn't know what to eat on keto. He is going to make this really hard for me. So this video is basically to explain to you guys what are the foods that you can eat on keto and which ones you cannot eat on keto. So for those of you who don't know what keto is, it's basically a high fat, low carb diet, and you do incorporate some protein in there. The way that keto works is very, very simple actually. So your body needs energy in order to do what it does, right? What your body normally uses for energy are carbs. So every time you eat anything high on sugar, your body breaks that down and then uses that for energy. However, when you deprive your body from carbs, it needs to use another resource to burn for energy. And that's when your body goes into ketosis and you start burning fat instead of carbs for energy. And in turn, you start burning fat simply by restricting your carb intake on your daily diet. So first and foremost, one of the most obvious ones is that you cannot have bread on a keto diet. So anything that is bread, pasta, cookies, cake, you know, anything that you can think of, which is a lot of stuff, but anything that you can think of that is bread, you cannot have, including pasta. So a good way to substitute this lack of carbs or lack of bread that you essentially use to feel full, a good way to compensate for that is by eating protein, because protein is very, very filling. And protein, that's very easy. You know, anything that's beef, chicken, eggs, and then of course your fish is gonna be the best because it's high in fat. Remember, if you eat too much protein, you will, it won't work, because too much protein can break down into carbs. So you need to make sure that you have about 20 to 30% protein in your daily meals, and then you really want to hit that 70 to 80% fat. And then, you know, about 5% carbs. You really don't want to have any carbs in there, but it's inevitable because even bacon will have like 1 gram of carbs. So that leaves you with a lot of options because you already can eat any protein. You can eat bacon, you can eat ham, salmon, tuna, basically anything that you can think of that's protein, and eggs. And I mean, in my opinion, eggs and bacon are gonna be your best friend. So that's something that you can eat, and you can find that at any restaurant. That's one of the easiest things, is that you can find protein anywhere. Now you have to be careful, because a lot of these restaurants, when you wanna order, you know, you say something like, oh, let me order wings, or let me order ribs. Technically, yes, that's protein, but you gotta be careful in what it's drenched in, because a lot of these wings or ribs will use barbecue sauce, and barbecue sauce is extremely high on sugar. So you need to make sure that if you do order anything like that, any kind of protein, that you're ordering it dry. And then you can ask for the sauce on the side. Another big thing on keto that you can have is cheese. And cheese is gonna be your best friend because you can add cheese to anything for flavor. So in the morning, I'll make scrambled eggs and I add some cheese. If I make chicken, I add some cheese. If I'm having beef fajita, I add some cheese. You know, it's a flavor, and then there's so many different types of cheeses. You have anywhere from mozzarella to Kobe Jack to cheddar, that it really just gives a lot of different flavors to different types of food. So that's a really, really good add-on that you can do. And another one on that same note, another thing is avocados. Avocados are really good. Just like cheese, they're really high on fat, and it just gives your food like that extra flavor. Avocado and cheese are gonna be your best friend. I love to add that to beef fajita, chicken fajita, add it to my eggs. So it works wonders. Another thing that you can have on keto is vegetables. Now, you have to be careful with vegetables because the ground rule for what vegetables you can have on keto are above ground vegetables. And that's the best way to remember. If it grows above ground, you more than likely can have it. And that excludes potatoes, carrots, because those are grown beneath the ground. Another rule of thumb to remember is if they're green vegetables, you more than likely can have them. You know, that would be your zucchini, your broccoli, your kale, your cucumber, your spinach. You know, these are green vegetables, you can have them. That's another rule of thumb, because if you think of it, potatoes are not green, carrots are not green, tomatoes are not green. I know tomatoes are technically a fruit, whatever. You can't have fruits either, so no fruits. So either way, it rules out tomatoes. I would say the only non-green vegetable that you can have is probably cauliflower. So that's another way to remember what vegetables you can have. Now for condiments, because of course you want to make sure that, you know, your food tastes good. The condiments that I'm about to give you, you can have as much as you want, and that would be butter and salt. You can add as much butter and as much salt as you want to your food for flavor. The next condiments that I'm gonna mention are, you can have them, but in moderation. Do not overdo it. So that would be mayonnaise and ranch. You can have these two condiments because they're high on fat, but you gotta be careful because they're not necessarily healthy. And they do carry some carbs. They have about 2 grams of carbs per tablespoon, I believe. What can you cook with? And this one is really, for me, it's really easy because I like to cook with butter, but that's probably the Latina in me. But you can also cook with coconut oil or avocado oil. Both of these oils are really high on fat and will definitely be good cooking oils for sure. So that leaves me for dessert, because of course that is the one thing that kind of sucks when you're doing keto, because dessert is typically sugar, it's sweet, right? So you have your cakes, your cookies, your brownies, your ice cream, your pies, so on and so forth. This is a tricky one, but there are 2 things that I have found so far, because I have a sweet tooth myself. So this was something that I was like, I have to find a dessert that works for me. So one of them is dark chocolate. You can definitely have dark chocolate in moderation. With the higher the chocolate concentration, the better. So if you have 80%, that's better because it has less sugar added. Another good dessert and one of my absolute favorites is Cool Whip. And I know I mentioned this in my last video and you guys probably think I'm super weird, but it's actually really, really good. They have lots of different flavored Cool Whips. I recently discovered, because you know when you think Cool Whip, you think of the regular white Cool Whip, right? But I recently discovered that Hershey's has a chocolate Cool Whip, and then there's also an Oreo Cool Whip and a double fudge Cool Whip, and there's a lot of other ones. So I will make a video on that too, because you guys would be surprised what kind of desserts you can make with this, and they're so good. And it's about 2 grams of carbs per 2 tablespoons, which is really, really good. There's other types of desserts that you can do. I haven't really experimented with it. I know that you can have a little bit of peanut butter. There are some coconut desserts that you can also make with coconut oil, which I haven't yet experimented with. So, but as soon as I do, which I will, because I want to make a separate keto dessert video, I will definitely add them into that video. What can you drink? Well, obviously water. You can have coffee or tea. What I do, because I like to put creamer on my coffee, I do buy sugar-free creamer, which they do have available, and it's about 2 grams of carbs per tablespoon. So that's also pretty good. So I do that for my coffee because I have to have my coffee with creamer. You can also have tea, of course, no sugar. And you can also have diet drinks, so Diet Coke, Diet Dr. Pepper, Diet Sprite. Those are okay. I try not to have too much of it because they're not necessarily healthy for you. So I try to, like, you know, splurge a little, like on the weekends, you know, have a soda, a Diet Dr. Pepper or whatever. What can you have for alcoholic beverages? This one was a tough one also, because I love wine. I'm a wine drinker. And with keto, wine is possibly one of the worst alcoholic beverages that you can have, because, you know, essentially wine is made from grapes, and grapes are fruit, and fruit is sugar. So that was a hard pill to swallow because I love wine. Of course, you can have wine in moderation, you know, have about a 6-ounce glass, but that's no fun. So other alternatives to alcoholic beverages. Now, before I give you this list of alternatives for alcoholic beverages, be aware that any alcohol, whether it has sugar or not, any alcohol will put your weight loss to a halt. Okay, so alcohol itself will not allow you to lose weight. It will stop your weight loss because it stops your metabolism. So be aware of that. However, if you are celebrating something, or you know, you had a long day at work and you just need a drink, you know, it's totally understandable. Something that I found at the store that worked for me are your typical white girl drinks. White Claws or Trulies. They are hard seltzers. That, you know what? That was just my thumbnail. I was not drinking that, by the way. That's empty. That was just on the table, coincidentally. Those have, actually, since I have it right here, this is the 12-ounce bottle, and this has 2 grams of carbs. So it's pretty good, you know. If you're not into the hard seltzer, you know, and you're more of a liquor drinker, vodka and tequila are gonna be your best friend. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to mix this with club soda or flavored water. You need some flavor in there. I typically like mine with, I like vodka with club soda, lime, and salt. It's pretty good, but some people like some flavor, so you can, they always have those water flavor packets. You can get one of those and use that and flavor your alcoholic beverage. So that is all the information I have for you on what you can eat on keto. So I know the next question that a lot of people have is, how many carbs can you have per day? Typically this number is different for everyone because it really just depends at what point, because everybody's body is different, and it just depends at what point does your body go into ketosis, and that number is different for everybody, but you will know. So as a rule of thumb, 50 grams of carbs or less is preferred. However, for me, 50 grams of carbs is still a lot. I had to knock mine down to 20. So I'm eating 20 grams of carbs a day. And you will know, because first of all, I recommend that you count your carbs and everything. For me, I just kind of know them now. Like I memorized how many carbs, you know, a block of cheddar cheese has, or 2 slices of bacon. Start at something that you think is different from what you're normally eating. I didn't really eat a lot of sugar to begin with, so I had to cut it really, really low for my body to go into ketosis, which is why I do 20 grams of carbs per day. Is you'll know if it's working if you don't feel good the first week that you're doing it. If you start, like for me, I got headaches, I started feeling, you know, foggy, like I couldn't concentrate. You'll know. If you're not feeling any of those symptoms, you might have to cut your carb intake a little less to go into ketosis. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. I know a lot of you were asking me, what do you eat? I don't know what to eat. So I hope this was helpful. I try to go through every category, but let me know if you have any questions down below. You know, you can always comment. Let me know what it is that you would like to know. Maybe I missed a category, but yeah, make sure to hit the thumbs up if you like this video and you want more keto videos, and don't forget to subscribe, because it's always very much appreciative. I appreciate all you guys that keep coming back and watching my videos. It means a lot to me, so thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week. I'm off to go watch The Bachelor because I'm a sucker for The Bachelor. It's my guilty pleasure. So, yeah, I'll see you guys later.